Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and check your bank account. There it is. $1 million waiting for you. You didn't win the lottery, you didn't inherit it, everyone just got rich overnight. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if everyone became a millionaire at the same time? What would that mean for our world? For your job? For your groceries? For the price of a cup of coffee? In this video, we'll dive deep into the consequences, both good and bad, of a world where every single person is a millionaire. Spoiler: it's not all luxury cars and vacations. The initial shockwave. Let's start with what would happen in the first 24 hours. At first, people would celebrate. Bills would be paid off. Debts erased. Dreams would feel reachable. Finally, you could afford that home, start that business, or travel the world. But quickly, this wave of wealth would create a massive economic shock. Why? Because when everyone has money, money loses its value. That's called inflation, and in this case, it would be more like hyperinflation. When demand skyrockets, but supply remains the same, prices have no choice but to go up. A loaf of bread could suddenly cost $100. A simple haircut? Maybe $300. And forget about luxury cars, they'd be impossible to find. Everyone wants one, but there aren't enough to go around. In other words, being a millionaire wouldn't mean much when a gallon of milk costs $200. The collapse of incentives. Money is a powerful motivator. It drives innovation, encourages people to work, and fuels entire economies. But what happens when no one needs to work? Suddenly, people start quitting their jobs. Why flip burgers or work in retail when you don't have to? Why wake up at 6 a.m. for a job you hate when your bank account is full? Hospitals would lose nurses. Schools would lose teachers. Trash collectors, bus drivers, farmers, all critical roles, might walk away. Without workers, the entire infrastructure of society starts to crumble. That's the paradox. The world runs on people, not just money. And when people stop working, everything stops working. Even millionaires still need food, water, electricity, and the internet. But who's keeping those systems running? Status and purpose. Now let's talk about something deeper: identity. In today's world, wealth often defines status. Rich people are seen as successful, powerful, and sometimes even admirable. But what happens when everyone is rich? The meaning of wealth disappears. If everyone has $1 million, being a millionaire isn't special anymore. It's just normal. And when money no longer separates people, new forms of hierarchy will emerge. Maybe it's fame. Maybe it's skills, creativity, or access to limited resources. But something will fill that gap, because humans naturally create systems of comparison. Even more importantly, many people find purpose in their work. Without the need to work, some might feel lost. Depression, boredom, and existential crises could spread. When you don't have to do anything, you start asking, what should I do? Resource scarcity. Let's revisit that earlier point about demand. With everyone trying to buy more, consume more, and live more lavishly, resources become scarce very quickly. Airplanes, yachts, private islands, there are only so many to go around. Even basics like housing, electricity, water, and food would be under enormous pressure. Think about it. If 8 billion people suddenly want a beachfront villa, how many villas are there? The supply just doesn't exist. And when demand is unlimited and supply is limited, the competition gets fierce. Prices skyrocket, again, and shortages begin. Some might hoard. Others might panic. Black markets could emerge for basic needs like clean water or gasoline. In extreme cases, it might even lead to conflict over limited resources. Real value versus symbolic value. So, if money becomes worthless, what still has value? This brings us to a crucial question: what is real wealth? In this hypothetical world, skills become the new currency. A plumber, a doctor, a farmer, their value doesn't disappear. In fact, it skyrockets. Why? Because they provide services that money alone cannot buy if no one is working. Knowledge, creativity, and relationships also gain new importance. A self-sustaining community becomes more valuable than $1 million bank account. Access to clean water or growing your own food becomes a superpower. So maybe, in a strange way, a world full of millionaires teaches us that wealth isn't money. It's what money represents. Time, health, safety, freedom. Lessons from history. This might sound extreme, but we've seen versions of this in the real world. In Zimbabwe and Venezuela, hyperinflation turned billionaires into paupers. A loaf of bread could cost a wheelbarrow full of cash. These aren't just economic crises, they're human ones. People lost savings, jobs, and hope, all because of a broken system of value. So when we ask, what if everyone became a millionaire? The real answer is, it depends on what wealth means, and how we manage it. So, what do you think? Would you still want to be a millionaire if everyone else was too? Maybe the real goal isn't a number in your bank account, but a meaningful life, supported by a healthy economy, community, and sense of purpose. Money matters, yes. But so do the things it can't buy. If this video made you think differently, hit that like button, and share it with someone who's ever said, "If I had $1 million," subscribe for more deep dives into society, science, and what if worlds. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.